Hello and welcome back to Minecraft Snapcore with SRJ26. This is the LP. I try to show you the stuff that's happening in the latest snapshot, and this is snapshot 13W01B, if I remember correctly. So there's a bunch of stuff I got to show you. I have not been playing in here much, so I went in and did a bunch of work. I went into the Nether and got this stuff called Nether Quartz. And there's a bunch of stuff to show you. So I'm just going to start off in here. There's a wonderful new thing called a block of redstone. You can now take redstone and put 9 in a crafting grid and you can make a block. And the block emits power. And my favorite way to show off the power is that if this is allowed to move into this spot, it will power this wire, which will activate this piston, which will push it to this spot, where it will power this wire and activate this piston. Let me just show you, because it's kind of awesome. I'm going to remove this block that's blocking the circuit, and the redstone disappears. Isn't that amazing? You probably can't even hear me. Okay, the redstone disappears because it is moving so darn fast. That is my favorite thing about this snapshot, I think. Partially because it's just so loud. But yeah, it's amazing. And you can do something else with it, which I will show you upstairs. You know what a T flip-flop is? A T flip-flop is this thing where you can push a button and it will turn a signal on or off. Normally, a button will just give a pulse. So there's a button right there. You can't really see it, but normally a button just gives a pulse. It won't actually turn something on or off like a lever would. Well, this is a T flip-flop. Push the button once, power comes out. Push the button again, power stops coming out. It's very, very simple, very compact, and will make a lot of people's lives easier. There's wiring on the top that is integral to it functioning. So that is a T flip-flop. It used to be that you would have a hole with a torch underneath it, and the torch would wind up powering up and out of it through the block when the block was moved on top of the hole. So the torch would power the block would power the wire. But now with redstone blocks, you don't need that extra level of stuff. You can just do it in 3 vertical blocks of space and 4 sideways blocks of space. So yeah, it's going to revolutionize, well, not revolutionize, but it's going to do some good stuff. What will revolutionize our play is the comparator. And I'm not showing you recipes because this is not really a snapshot video. This is Snapcore. So I don't know. I'm not going to, I think, because I'm concerned that I'm not the best person to do snapshot vids because I don't do this full time. So by the time the snapshot is out, other people have already done snapshot vids. But at any rate, this is the comparator. Let me show you the first coolest thing the comparator can do. The comparator is set up to take a charge from the back end and then another charge from either side. But you may not know that you can hook it up to a dispenser and make a machine gun. That is the dispenser firing 5 times per second. And if you filled that full of, turn off, there you go. If you filled that full of arrows, you would have a machine gun, or flame charges for that matter. So yeah, we've got newer, faster, easier machine guns, but we also have something else. This is the comparator when hooked up to 2 signals, and I'm going to turn that signal off. And right now, let me see. There we go. Okay, right now, the signal coming from here is 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the 5th one away, so that's what, 16 minus 5, that's 11, the power of 11. And you can see it's charging this bar up that far. We've got a signal coming from over here. It is going to be weaker than the signal coming from the back. So what that means is that if a weaker signal comes in from the side, then the power is not disrupted. But if a more powerful signal comes in from the side, so here's our more powerful signal, then it turns off the comparator. So what it's doing is it's comparing signals. And The back end, the primary signal, is a certain strength. If the side signal is stronger, it turns off. If the side signal is weaker, which that one is, it does not affect it at all. But what is that little doohickey? Well, that doohickey is a subtractor. And the subtractor works like this. I'm going to throw this switch now so we have a maximum signal going into the back end of the comparator. Now, we have the subtractor set up, and right now what it's doing is it's taking that full power signal, so that's what, 16, 15 blocks, and it's subtracting this signal from it. So if we increase this signal, so I'm going to add a torch right here, we're increasing the amount of energy that is being subtracted from the primary signal. So if I add even more, let's say right there, we're adding even more signal to be subtracted from the primary signal. And now remember, this torch is to be ignored. So right now the primary signal is coming from that, so it's pretty powerful. And if we put it there, then it's equivalent, and so there won't be any signal at all. So every one we go away, there we go. Okay, so every one we go away, I'm going to remove this one and that one. There we go. We got another one. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys. It's really complicated. It's really simple and yet really complicated. But basically, the primary signal from the back, secondary signal from the side. If the red thingy is lit, then it is subtracting the side signal from the back signal and outputting that. Otherwise, it is just using the side signal as a toggle to either turn on or off the signal. But wait, there's more. Let's go downstairs and let me show you the next little bit. And I highly recommend you play with this stuff, because that's the only way you're going to get to know it, because it's complicated. We have a chest. Our chest is not full, but it has a bunch of stuff in it. I don't know if I have enough stuff to fill a chest, but if it was full, it would output a maximum signal. And this wire could stretch for, what, 15, 16 blocks and be completely charged. Right now it is charging 2 blocks worth. So there's your comparator, and then 1, 2. And then that one is not alive, not lit. Let's take this downstairs and take a look at some of our chests downstairs. I've got to have a chest downstairs that's got a lot of junk in it. Let me see. That's not bad, but I don't think it's full. Let me see. Oh, look at that. That's pretty good. Okay, so we will do the comparator. That's a daylight sensor. I'll get to that in a minute. I'm sure you've heard of that, because that's the coolest thing on the planet right now. Okay, so we've got our comparator. Boom. And let's see how many. I bet this will be more than 2. So we got 1 lit, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wow. 10. And that one looks dead. So that is a fairly full chest. Now, why you would want to do all that, I'm not even really sure, but it's kind of cool and clever. And it works on dispensers, so you can keep track of your machine gun as you are firing millions and millions of arrows at people attacking your PvP hideout or whatever. Okay, 2 more things I'll mention real quick that are, sure, incredibly more useful than I think they are, but we have a light pressure plate and a heavy pressure plate. The light pressure plate will, I believe, output a signal based on lighter amounts of weight. And it's an analog signal. And this is a key thing about this Redstone update. All the Redstone stuff that comes out that is it's no longer where it's going to be on or off. We're going to have a lot of stuff that's doing redstone on a variable rate. So you have different strength signals. This is the heavy pressure plate, and this pressure plate will output based on heavier stuff being put on it, but it's still a variable output. But I'm kind of at a loss. I expect these will be made into spiffy tables and stuff. Sorry, Dinnerbone, but I think that these will become tables and chairs and furniture and stuff like that. So, what next? Let's go sleep, because we got some stuff outside to show you, and I hate going outside when the monsters are out. And you know the monsters, they come out at around dusk, so hopefully it'll be clear. And if it's not clear, at least hopefully we'll have zombies and skeletons to get exploded. All right, how are we looking? We are pretty clear. So what is this I've got here? This is a long line of comparators. Sorry, I'm paranoid here. And it is more than 16. So let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just going to tell you, it's more than 16. You should be able to tell. It looks like more than 16. It's a whole bunch of comparators, right? Well, normally when you use a redstone repeater, your repeater will repeat the signal and you'll get another 16 blocks out of it. But if you string these guys together, check it out. Oh, there you go. So they act as a wire, and they're very fast wire too. It's like a half a tick per comparator. So you can now take a signal and make it go a really long distance really, really quickly. And this can go next to other wires and it will not actually affect the other wire. So you can have these going opposite directions and only have 2 blocks and have your wires effectively not cross-pollinate the signal or not, cross-contaminate the signal. So I don't know. I think that in creative mode there are going to be some people who will do a lot of really cool stuff, but I don't know how much they'll do in survival because they're expensive things to make. They're not not trivial. The next thing I'll show you, which is honestly it's amazing and yet minor. It's the day-night sensor. We used to have all kinds of crazy ways to set up a way to determine whether it's day or night. You had this bud sensor that had this grass block, and it was really complicated, and IMHO invented it. And now you've got this day-night sensor. The lower the sun goes, or the lower the sun is to the horizon, the less signal is output. So you can set this up with lamps, and you can basically have lights turn on at night if you're clever and can figure out how to do it, because this is actually outputting a signal that's a positive signal during the daytime, which means the positive signal will light up lights, and you don't want it to light up a light. You want it to light up a light when it's off. So you can figure that out. It's not too hard. And I'm going to pick this up and oh, did I just lose it? That would be poor. But I've got plenty more. I've made a whole ton. And the last thing I'm going to bring up, and the last thing is actually somewhat, you know how you play Minecraft and you get weird things happening, and then you don't know if it was you or if it was your imagination? I had that happen earlier when I was off in the nether mining nether quartz. Nether quartz is this cool redstone ore that you can find in the nether. And it looks like that, nether quartz. And believe it or not, as I was walking around with like 30 or 35 nether quartz, I started catching on fire. And it was the weirdest thing. And I kept on looking around for a thing of fire I might have stepped on or gotten too close to, or someone that might have caught me on fire, and I did not see a thing. So until proven otherwise, I will have a suspicion, pardon me, I will have a suspicion that maybe if you carry too much of this stuff in the nether, that maybe you catch on fire. But I might just be paranoid. I might just have stepped in some fire and not known it, because I have not been able to duplicate it. But it was really, really weird, and it kind of freaked me out. And then I tried really hard to duplicate it, and I couldn't. So, one last thing to show you. See these nether bricks? Well, I got them by smelting netherrack. Put some netherrack in here. You know all that netherrack that fills up your chests? Put it in here, get nether brick, and then, I'm sure you can guess this next part. It's very exciting. We put this in here, and guess what? You know it, you know it. Ta-da! Nether brick. So, we now have a use for our stacks and stacks and stacks of netherrack. And let me put this down here where it belongs. And I see I've got a little bit of smelting to do. And I guess that, that's my snapshot update. So this has been SRJ26 with a somewhat fast and loose snapshot view, but thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and let me know if I should keep on doing these. See you next time. Bye-bye.